Hey there artists, are you ready to unwind, relax and draw? It's the simple things that make us happy, nature's beauty, the warmth of a hug, the crunch of leaves beneath your feet, birds chirping. Let's bring that feeling to life on your canvas. In today's tutorial, we're getting cozy and diving into a nature-inspired illustration that's sure to brighten your day. Stick with me and by the end, you'll not only have a gorgeous piece of art, but also some powerful Procreate skills in your toolkit. We'll cover how to add text, use clipping masks, explore the symmetry tool and more. Check the description below for a list of the brushes I have used in this tutorial to supercharge my process, though feel free to use whatever you've got. Plus, I've included a free download of the color palette. Speaking of keeping things simple, this color palette uses just a few well-chosen hues to create impact, because simple never means boring. Now get comfy, grab a hot cup of tea or your favorite drink, and let's get started by setting up our canvas with these dimensions and color profile. I have already created a Procreate canvas according to the settings I have provided. So let's just go to the layers here, create a new layer on top. We're going to select both of these layers, and to do that we'll just swipe to the right on that one group, select this, rename, and I'll call this group Leaf Pink. Select the bottom layer here. For this job I'm going to be using the sleek marker at size 18, and the color that we'll be using, if you go to the palette over here, is this lightest pink here. Now in order to draw the leaf, I'm going to show you how to use the symmetry tool. So let's just go up here and select this tool here. We're going to turn on drawing guide, edit drawing guide. We're going to click on symmetry, and I'm just going to move this over just about there, and now we can press done. So this tool is quite cool, the symmetry tool. Whatever I draw on the right hand side of this line will appear on the left side here. So it'll be a symmetrical drawing. So we're just going to draw the leaf now. So we just start off at the line here, and we can go like that. Okay, now we can fill that in with color. We can go back here and just turn the drawing guide off. Let's use the transform tool. Make sure that it's on uniform, and we can just make that leaf a little smaller. Now the other thing you can do, if you find that your leaf is too wide, you can select freeform over here and just make it a little bit longer, like so. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Now let's select this layer here. For the color we'll use this blue here, and for this job we're going to use the textured pencil, 11%. We'll add some lines to the leaf now, so let's zoom in. I'm going to create a straight line here. I'll show you a little trick. So you start off here, then you hold your pencil down, don't lift it off the screen, and you can determine the end point like that. We're also going to add a little bit of texture to the leaf. So let's go to our layers, select this bottom layer here, create a new layer on top. The color that we'll be using is this second pink from the right. And the brush we'll be using is the Magic Rugged texture, size 20%. And what we're going to do is just create a clipping mask here. So select clipping mask, and what that essentially does is anything that you draw on layer 4 will be clipped to the shape on layer 1. And this is a really nice texture brush, so you can play around with this a little. You can make this kind of nice sweeping motion with it and vary the pressure you put down as well, as it's a pressure sensitive brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and select the N here and choose multiply over here, and you can play around with the opacity slider until you get the desired result. I might leave mine at around 45%. So you can see now very quickly we've got this leaf with this really interesting texture. Even the line work has got that nice texture in it. So this just goes to illustrate, if you've got the right tools and you use the right techniques and shortcuts, you can get some really nice results very quickly. Now onto the mushroom. So let's create 2 new layers here. Group. I'll call this mushroom 1. Let's select the top layer here. And now for this job, I'm going to go back to the sleek marker, size 18, and I will be using this blue color here, second from the left. Let's just decrease this in size. Let's draw a mushroom cap. Okay, so let's draw this in the center here, because we will have the tree trunk on this side soon. So what you can do is just do a little shape like that and hold it down. You can actually change the angle and the size and so forth, but I'm going to make my mushroom about this size and just close it up like so. Fill that in with color. Onto the stem of the mushroom. Let's select this layer here. Now for this job we're going to use this color here, the lightest pink. And we'll select the grungy marker at size 17. Let's roughly sketch in the stem of the mushroom, and then we can just, in a really sketchy kind of way, just fill it in with color. It doesn't have to be perfect, it adds to the charm. Let's select this layer here, and now we're going to draw the skirt on the mushroom. And for this job we will be using the soft pencil. Size 8, and the color will be this color, the darkest pink. So let's go in and draw the skirt on the mushroom, and you can kind of go in and just fill it in quite a sketchy kind of way. All of this texture adds to the final charm of the drawing. Now let's create a new layer on top here. The color that we'll use is this light pink here. The pencil that we'll be using is the Mighty pencil, size 11. And we're going to zoom in a little bit. And we're going to just draw some spots on the mushroom. We're also going to add a little bit of texture to the cap of the mushroom. So create a new layer on top here. We'll create a clipping mask. For this job we will use the abrasive shader at size 14. And the color that we'll be using is this darkest blue here on the left. So just add a little bit of texture like so. And let's go here and select multiply. We're just going to play with the opacity slider until we kind of have the effect that we like, because that's too dark there. For now I'll just leave it at around 40%. We can always go back and change it towards the end. And now we'll close this group here, And we're going to create 2 new layers. Just select both those layers, group, and I'll call this tree trunk. Grungy marker, size 18. We use this lightest pink. And now we're going to draw the tree trunk. Just make sure you have this layer selected, the bottom layer. And we can now draw the tree trunk. Okay. And we just increase the brush size here, and we can roughly fill it in with the color. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just adds to the final charm of the drawing. If we have a little bit of texture showing here and there. So let's leave it on the grungy marker, and we're just going to select this layer here, and the color that we'll use is the darkest pink here, and we might have to take it down in size a little bit. And what we're going to do is just draw. Well, just make sure you've got that darkest pink selected, and we'll draw in the top here. And we'll just add a little bit of detail here as well. Let's create a new layer on top. We'll go back to this lightest pink here and select the textured pencil, size 7, and we're just going to draw the wood grain on top here. I'm also going to add a little bit of wood grain to the actual trunk here, and for this job I'll select this blue here. Same pencil, you may want to increase it in size a tad, so maybe go up to 9 or 10, and zoom in a little bit, and we'll just work on some wood grain here. Let's now just close this and select all of these groups and just click on that, and we're just going to take this down a tiny little bit here, and I'm going to select this group here and duplicate it. Turn this group off and rename this to tree trunk 2. Okay, select this tool here and just move that up. You can turn this layer back on. And we're just going to alter this second tree trunk just so it looks a little bit different, but we're going to use a few shortcuts. So with that one selected, we're going to select that tool and just flip horizontal. open this group up, select this layer here, and I'm just going to grab the blue color here and pop it on here like so. Continue filling and just make that blue as well. Now I'm just going to select this layer here, this color here, make sure you're on this layer here, and we'll just drop that pink color onto the wood grain here. Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, so what we might do is just create a background shape for our illustration. So we're just going to close this, create a new layer here, just grab this and pop this on top, and just rename this to background BG. For this job I will use the Magic Rugged texture, this lightest blue here, and you can increase the size on this. Might use it at around 80% to begin with. Might just turn these layers off just so I can see the page on its own, and you can create a rough shape like so, and you can increase the size here and fill it in. So it's a pressure sensitive brush, so you can place more pressure on in the center, and if you want more of the texture to show on the outside, you just release the pressure a little bit. So let's just turn all of our layers back on. Let's go in and select tree trunk 2 and move this over here. We can reduce this in size a little bit and place it over here. Let's go back to this tree trunk, select the arrow tool, and we're just going to stretch this out, but to do that we just select freeform, so we can just make this a little taller like so, and make a little bit skinnier, and overall you can just reduce the size a little bit and just pop it in the corner here. Going to select the mushroom arrow tool and just pop the mushroom over here for now. And now I'm just going to create a blue version of the leaf. So let's go to the leaf group here. Now, I'm not sure what happened here. I think I renamed this one to leaf previously, but if not, I'm just going to change it now. Leaf dash pink. And I'm just going to duplicate this group here. Select the arrow tool and we'll just move it over here. And rename this to leaf blue. Open this, select the bottom layer here, second blue from the left, drop the color on here, turn this off, select this layer here, select the lightest pink and just drop that onto the line work. Turn this layer back on. Now you can go in here and play around with the opacity slider just so the texture stands out a little bit more. It's up to you where you leave it. I might leave it at about 85% for now. Now let's go in and grab both of these leaf groups and choose the transform tool. We're just going to move them up here just for the moment. I'm going to show you how to add text to the canvas. So let's select the top layer here and create two new layers. Select both group, rename text, select the bottom layer Now we will be using this blue here for the text. Let's use the wrench tool here to add some text. Make sure you have add selected, add text. So what that has done is created some text for us in a text box. You can go in and change the size of the text box. I'm just going to move the text box down here so we can actually see what is happening. So at this stage all of the text is selected, but you can deselect it by doing that, or select it again by sliding this to the right. I'm just going to make sure, so once you've got that text selected, I'm going to make sure that it's in this blue color here. And let's have a look at the details here. So just select the A here, which brings up all the font options for us here, the style, size of the font, and there's lots of other settings like kerning, tracking, leading, and so forth. And I am going to use this font, the Dido font. That's too big for what I want, so I'm going to take the size down to around 14, 15 points. And I'm also going to remove this up here. I'm also going to increase the tracking. So what the tracking does is just creates space in between each letter. I'm going to leave it at around 110%. If you don't get it exactly, that's fine. Press done. So we've got the text here, but I would just like to change it to some of my own words. So let's tap on that, select it all, and make sure you've got all lowercase. And I'm going to write feeling happy. Okay. So I can grab that text box and move it around. And I'm going to add a little bit of detail to the text. So select this layer here and make sure it's still on that blue here. And we'll use the grungy marker at around 8%. Let's create this line here. And this brush gives quite a nice textured effect, which is quite nice. And one on top. Let's get to the layers, close this, select the mushroom. We're going to duplicate the mushroom, rename, and just call that mushroom 2. And then we'll duplicate it again, rename, mushroom 3. Select mushroom 2, arrow tool, and grab this and put it over here. We will flip this horizontally. Let's go to mushroom 1, arrow tool, just take it down in size a tad. And we've got both mushrooms on top of each other, so that's okay. We'll just turn mushroom 1 off, select mushroom 3, arrow tool, and we will place it around here for the moment. Just take it down in size quite a bit. Go back here, turn mushroom 1 back on. Now I will just quickly go to the text group, select it all, and I'm just going to take it down a little bit. Select mushroom 3, actually select mushroom 2, and just take the mushroom down a tad and maybe decrease it in size a little bit. Now we're almost there. Now it's just a matter of creating some more leaves, finding the right spot for all of these elements, and then just adding a few final touches. So let's turn the pink leaf off for the moment. We're just going to decrease this in size so we can see what we're doing. Let's go to the blue leaf and the arrow tool. Use the green circle here and hold it and rotate it. Okay, let's duplicate the leaf. You can go in and quickly rename it to arrow tool. Move that. Use the green circle over here to rotate the leaf. You can change it in size a tad. Duplicate again. Rename 3. Arrow tool. Rotate it. Duplicate again. Rename 4. Arrow tool to select. I might grab mushroom 2 arrow tool. Actually, I'm getting confused. I think it was mushroom 3 arrow tool, and just move it a little bit over here. Now go back to leaf 4 arrow tool. Decrease it in size a little bit. Now for the pink leaves. So we turn this one back on. Select the arrow tool. Use the little green circle over here to rotate it. I might just go to the blue leaf and select the arrow and just decrease the size a little bit, just so we can fit some more of the leaves in. Select the pink leaf, duplicate, arrow tool, move over here, use the green circle here to rotate the leaf, decrease it in size. Duplicate it again. Actually, before we duplicate it, what I might do is just quickly go in here to layer 4, just increase the opacity on that so the texture comes up a little bit more on this one. Rename leaf 2, duplicate it, rename leaf 3, arrow tool, rotate, reduce in size. Now we may need to go to this leaf and drop it down a little bit here. Go back to the pink leaf. Now I'd like to fit one more pink leaf in, so I might have to move these elements around a little bit. So select this blue leaf here, arrow tool, and just take it down in size a little bit. Go back to the pink leaf, duplicate, arrow tool, move it up here. I might increase it in size a little bit. What I might do is go to mushroom 1 and just reduce it in size a little bit and place it over here. leaf pink 3. Actually, this should have been renamed to leaf pink 4. I will just go to this leaf blue 2 arrow tool, just take it down a tad in size and rotate it. You can go in and fix where the elements have been placed, how they have been placed, at what size, and this would be a good time to do that right now. I will also just increase the size of this leaf here, I think. So it was that one here, arrow tool. Move it up a little bit. And select pink leaf 3. And just change the angle on that, like so. Increase that a little bit. Now for the final touches, I will select this layer here and just create a new layer on top. Make sure that this blue is selected second from the left. And for this job I will use the grungy marker at about 8%. And we're just going to add some twigs here and there. So let's just increase the size here so we can see what we're doing. Now this is a really nice textured marker. So without a lot of effort you get a really nice kind of retro feel with this marker. So we just go in and create these twigs. And you can put them here and there. This is just to balance the artwork. If you're not happy with the background shape at this stage, you can go in and change it a little bit if you like. And I'll show you a really cool trick quickly. Select the background layer and select the arrow tool and select warp. Now you've got these points here. If you want to move it, the background shape out a bit, you can pull it at a particular point and change the shape a little bit, like so. You can also play around with points here and there. If you're happy with that, press that again. I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to the background. So select the background layer here, create a new layer on top. We're going to be using the jittery brush at size 30%, this blue from the left, and we'll just add a bit of texture here and there. Not a lot of it, has to be quite subtle because there's quite a bit happening in the image already, but this just adds a nice final touch. And select that, multiply, play around with the opacity slider, but I might leave it at around 50% or thereabouts. Let's just use our 4 fingers and tap on the screen to hide all of the toolbars so we can see our final artwork. And that's a wrap, artists. You've now created a nature-inspired masterpiece, all while picking up some neat new tricks along the way. Hope you're also feeling very relaxed. Let's take a quick look at the illustration. So we can zoom up and we can see all the beautiful texture in the wood grain, in the background. You know, we even have the texture in the line detail over here. Beautiful texture on the cap of the mushroom, in the leaves. Even the border of the background shape has this gorgeous texture in it. The line work, beautifully textured. So it all brings this artwork together nicely. Remember, creativity is about embracing the simple things, letting your imagination run wild and not overcomplicating your process. There are techniques and tools to make the process fast and simple. Use these to save you time and keep you stress-free. Keep practicing, keep experimenting, and always have fun with it. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, subscribe. This will actually allow me to produce even more content for you. And share your art, please. I'd love to see your creations. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating.